Okay, we're going to look at this first problem on here. I'm trying a little different of a video. So it says you have $6,000 to invest in 2 stock funds. So it tells you 2 stock funds right there, okay? So we know that our X and Y's are probably going to have to relate to those stock funds. So the first fund pays 5% annual interest and the second account pays 9% annual interest. If after a year you have made $380 in interest, how much money did you invest in each account? So let's think about it. Our total amount that we invested was $6,000, right? Because it said that you have $6,000 to invest in 2 stock funds. So my X is going to be amount invested in, let's say, the 5% stock fund, so the fund that pays 5% interest annually. And then my Y is going to be the amount out of the 6,000 invested in the 9% fund, the fund that pays 9% of annual interest. Okay, so the total amount I had was $6,000, right, that I'm investing. So the amount I invest in one plus the amount I invest in the other is going to equal 6,000. So there's one equation, right? And then it says, if after a year you have made $380 in interest. So to figure out how much interest I made off of this one, where I invested X dollars, well, to find the percent of a whole number, right, I just changed that 5% to 0.05 times the amount I invest. That's going to give me my interest, right? Plus 0.09 times Y, right? Because if I invested 9%, I change that to a decimal and multiply it by the amount, and that tells me 9% of it. And that equals $380. So now I have my 2 equations and 2 unknowns. I've defined my variables, right? So on a test, that's the majority of your points right there. So now both these variables are by themselves. So I can solve this, let's say, for X. So X equals 6,000 minus Y. And now I can substitute that value for X right here. So I get 0.05 times 6,000 minus Y plus 0.09 Y equals 380. And you multiply all that, and you're going to get what? What is that? That gives me 300 minus 0.05y plus 0.09y equals 380. Minus 300, that goes away. I'm left with 80 on that side. And negative 0.05 plus 0.09 is 0.04y. Divide by 0.04, divide by 0.04. And I get Y equals 2,000. So what does that tell me? Well, let's look back up here. What is Y? It's the amount invested in the 9% stock fund. So at that point, if he invested a total of $6,000, and I know he invested $2,000 in the 9% fund, how much did he invest in the 5% fund? Well, 6,000 minus 2,000, right, equals 4,000. So that's going to equal X. So there are your answers. So again, when you get confused, look back at the question. It says, how much money did you invest in each account? So that tells you need to have both your X and your Y. You have to have them defined so that I know which one is which account, how much money is with which account. Okay? So that's just one more example of a word problem, defining variables, writing equations, and then solving for the variables. using substitution.